All right. So our team name is the Hunger Helpers. Our team consists of myself, Eli, Tiana, India, Grace, and Jayla.
We will go over how our team attempted to solve a community problem, and that community problem was helping people in need and helping the homeless people in Salem have access to meals and water because we felt like there's a lot of homeless in Salem back in 2020. Well, actually, it was in 2022. There was 1,500 homeless people just in Salem alone, not even in Oregon. And out of those 1,500 homeless people, 878 of them were living on the streets without any shelter, and 677 of them were living in homeless shelters. So they had a little bit more access to food, but not a ton. So we figured by doing a GoFundMe, we would be able to help them have more access to food with the Marion Polk County Foundation, which Grace will talk about later.
Okay. So now we can talk about how our group implemented the solution to our community project. So first we discussed the roles that each of us would have in our group, kind of talking about what things we're comfortable doing, um, and what things like we are already good at that we could use throughout our project. Then we talked about how we could define, the goals that we have as a team. So we came up with some goals and figured out, a kind of timetable to be able to be on time for our project. We brainstormed some ideas for the project. Out of that came out the idea of a GoFundMe. And then we had already kind of chose the community that we wanted to look at. Then we talked about the tasks that each of us would have. Some of us made a video for the GoFundMe. Some of us worked on some slides. Some of us worked on finding information on what kind of food share we would like to collaborate with. Some of us figured out how to use the GoFundMe because I don't think any of us had really used it, but one of us had to figure out how we were going to be able to link it to the Marion Polk food share. Then each of the members of our group committed to attending a weekly Zoom meeting to be able to talk about what we had to do that week to progress forward. And each of us then used the GoFundMe on our social media, posted it, and posted a video that we made explaining our cause, where the money's going to go to, who we collaborated with, and the people that would be affected positively by donations.
Yeah, so we chose Marion Polk Food Share specifically, um, partially because of the location. Obviously, we wanted to support the Salem community because the homeless population and those with food insecurity is very prevalent there, but also just the vision that Marion Polk has. They provide food for the homeless in Salem and connect with 100 different partners. And so they do things like Meals on Wheels and providing food for food pantries, foster homes, daycare centers, all sorts of things. In 2023, they were able to collect and share 8.3 million meals, which is absolutely incredible with only 2,000 volunteers, which is really amazing. And so this was just a company that an organization that we really wanted to work with because of their success and just their general vision for helping the homeless population.
Um, Moving on to the idea behind our works, the idea, as mentioned before, was to help the homeless community with access to food. Hunger cannot be solved, unfortunately, but it can be aided by contributing and raising funds to the Marion Polk Food Share as well as other organizations. But this was the organization that we chose. We were hoping to raise $1,000 as a big goal, but we haven't met it yet. And we do Marion Polk the Marion Polk Food Share will be able to distribute about 3,000 meals with those funds. By creating a video with accurate information on the current situation, we have been able to work on spreading awareness on the issue as a whole, and a GoFundMe was made to help collect the donations. And we've currently raised $135, which is about 405 meals, which is great, but we want to push more towards our goal. And then for our implementation, our solution was to contribute to the Marion Polk Food Share, as mentioned, and raise funds to help them afford meals that they distribute out to communities, including homeless communities. The organization works on feeding several communities with food insecurity, which does include the homeless. And by raising awareness and having the GoFundMe, we aim to raise money for meals. Marion Polk Food Share can distribute for them to have access. On our impact, as mentioned, we have 405 meals with the current funds of $135, and we used a visual graph to show the difference in money raised and how much food that creates. And it is a little bit of money goes a long way in this circumstance. We aim to have 3,000 meals with a donation of $1,000. So we still have a lot of work to go, as we haven't even made it to a quarter of our goal yet. But with a lot of work and determination, I believe we can get there within the year.
Now we'll go over the lessons that we've learned. I think each of us kind of have a little bit that we want to share about each lessons we've learned throughout the term. So for leadership, I learned that just making sure that everybody was always felt included, felt like they were part of the group was kind of huge, and always asking questions, even if they were dumb questions, they were still helpful. Because I felt like it was a dumb question, maybe somebody else had that question. And so I think it helped all of us in the end.
So I can go. Uh, Planning our project meetings was a really big key to helping us focus on our goal. By everybody agree, when we first started our project, one thing that we really wanted, like that some of us mentioned, was that we really like, being on time and getting things done on time and kind of having a good sense of when we wanted to get things done. And by setting our Zoom meetings for Wednesdays at the same time and being really, I guess, in a way, kind of strict with that, but also being respectful of each other, and our time was really key to helping us have a good flow throughout our project.
Yeah, along with that, having a clear vision and strategic plan for our group project overall, but also just how we wanted meetings to go was super helpful from a leadership aspect. And then just learning the strengths and weaknesses of our teammates was something that I knew was important, but didn't fully understand the whole grasp of it until this project. And I think we did a really good job like capitalizing on what we do well and leaning into that rather than trying to have everyone do exactly the same thing and having it might not have gone as well, but yeah.
For me, it was definitely, oh, sorry, did I cut you off? Okay. So for me, it was deadlines, staying on top of them, being aware of them so that we could better organize our plans and tasks. For that strategic strategy that Grace mentioned was extremely important in like staying on top of leadership, and staying more task orientated was more really important, I feel like, for this project. And then for teamwork, communication was really important to me. I didn't realize how important it was to communicate before, but like communicating when I needed help or when just things were getting done or if I was falling behind, I found worked really well. And when everyone else did the same, we really worked as, instead of individual people, more like a unit.
Yeah, I agree on that. Working collectively really helped in our teamwork. I think just from all of us, like bouncing ideas off of each other and being there when each other needed help, really helped our teamwork aspect this term.
Yeah, so this is a little bit about our GoFundMe page. We have a link here if you'd love to share it. That would be amazing. So it just kind of has a little bit of what the mission and vision is that we've talked about previously, and then obviously the link. We, as India mentioned, have raised $135. Our goal is 1,000, and luckily all of that money goes directly to Marion Polk Food Share. So it's very simple after the term ends. If we keep promoting the GoFundMe, that there's really no work that we have to do afterwards, because it just is distributed directly to them.